Hi, I'm Jon-Mark Patterson, and I am the Reactionary Hippie. Why that name? Well, I seem to have this unique ability to upset diverse groups of people, so I'm not going to take a chance and focus group it. But I think that name kind of reflects where I am now in my life and in reaction to the world around me and our culture. So I'm going to try to explain that a little bit. The hippie part. You're probably guessing this by looking at me, but I am a nonconformist by nature. I don't like being told what to do. I like things local. I like to know my neighbors. I like to deal face to face. I like local restaurants, local beer. I don't like Walmart. I don't like giant banks and bureaucracies telling me what to do and getting ever more incompetent and ever further away from the people they're supposed to serve. So I've kind of got that just built-in reaction to things getting bigger and less personal. And I don't like being treated like a consumer, just some easy to pigeonhole by his tastes and big data, just a little point in big data. Here's all you are as a buyer or a consumer. I want to be a producer. I want to make my house more beautiful. I want to make my block more beautiful. I want my town to be a nicer place to live. I want to run into people on the street. I want to learn new skills. I mean, my wife and I, if I peek at this window over here, I can see our chicken coop. We like to garden and can and improve things and learn things and do new skills. And I guess in this day and age, that's kind of hippie. I don't want to just contract it out and be a wage slave and just be measured by my lifestyle and what I purchase and how people have got me pigeonholed for serving up ads to me on Facebook or Google. So I'm kind of cranky that way. I'm a hippie. I also think, though, there's a big difference between the situation we're in now. I mean, hippies were thought of as countercultural, as reacting to the world they were in. And 50s beatniks and 60s hippies, they were reacting to a world of conformity and strong institutions that had shown, frankly, a lot of success. I mean, you look at the corporate models and the industrial organization that led to victory in World War II, the United States becoming really the sole superpower, it turned out, in the world, even though they had a run with the USSR for a while. In the 50s and 60s, there's a lot of confidence in those institutions that had won the war and had built up this incredible industrial capitalist consumer society that had created this amazing wealth and was taming the air and then finally space. The United States put people on the moon with that kind of focused, driven project led by these great bureaucracies. But those were also straightening and conforming in their success, right? And I would think it was right to react against their pride and their success. And it was right to react against this idea that, hey, we can do anything. We can launch a war on poverty. We can fix all our race troubles. We can push back the commies in Southeast Asia, and we can put someone on the moon all at the same time because we're Americans. Well, that came at a cost, right? And those institutions probably overreached. What world are we living in now? Well, we have a lot of those same institutions, but frankly, they're ghosts of their former selves, and we have all these bloated, racketeering-like operations in healthcare and government and public education. All these once proud institutions are kind of limping along, spending a lot of money, not getting very great results. People are losing confidence in them daily, whether it's the media, Congress. I mean, you can go down a long list of great American institutions that people just don't have much respect for or belief in anymore. So a hippie today is reacting against decayed institutions, not against maybe too successful and too proud and too conformist institutions. Okay, there you go. I said reactionary. I mean it in the real sense of the word, that I want to look back to the past and pick what's best of it. Not live in the past, but say, what can we learn from it and apply it to today to improve what we have, to get the best mix of the then and what we know now. But I like that sound of reacting too, right? Because we have to react to the collapse of our institutions. We have to react to the cultural wreckage that's all around us. So, I'm a reactionary hippie. So, what should we do? What's wrong with the world now? Well, the joke of it is the counterculture progressives now run everything. They won. They took over the media, they took over the universities, they took over the foundations, they took over the corporate boardrooms, and they took over all levels of government. They won. They're the man now, right? So if we're bloated and decaying and we're in need of new institutions, you actually have to react against the victory of the progressives. Yeah, I want to be... It's a radical act to be reactionary now. And I hate to use the term conservative because this is not, waving the flag from a stock car on Fox News. This is about looking back and having some respect for our past and bringing the best of it into our present and making a better future. Okay, so let's not use the C word. Let's just call me a reactionary hippie. If this progressive pose is dominant, I got all these people who fancy themselves these great progressive revolutionaries, but really, they're just playing the tune that's being called by Google and JP Morgan Chase, all the big banks, all the big tech companies. You're being encouraged to be so brave and stunning. You're really just doing exactly what they want you to do, letting them pigeonhole you as a consumer, signaling the right virtues and the right ideas. The hard part is to kind of dig past that and say, I don't want to be in a corporatocracy. I don't want to be a cog in the machine, an interchangeable part, a fungible economic unit. I want to be a thriving person. And part of being a thriving person means I'm not some individual who just stares at a screen and is isolated all the time. I'm reaching out to friends. I'm reaching out to family. I'm reaching out to my community. I'm in many different nested networks of real people who care for each other and are doing real things and building stuff together. We live in a world in which truth is under attack all the time. And serious people with great cultural power are trying to tell you right now that 2 + 2 does not equal 4, or that men and women aren't different from each other most of the time. Beauty is under attack. I mean, if you look at what passes for these great signature architectural projects, right? You look at the schools and the factories and the churches and the civic buildings that all look interchangeable. There's some reaction to this, but it's got a long ways to go. We have this ugly built environment that seems to cater more to cars than to people. And then we have people who hold themselves out in grotesque ways and are celebrated for it. Told how much they need to be empowered, how empowered they are to be so weird and so extreme. We have pornography saturating our world, with even kids are exposed to it all the time. Just these grotesque versions of beauty that crowd out real beauty. Here's a tough one: tradition, right? I mean, we're being told by the 1619 Project that America was founded entirely on evil basis, that anything that was good here was built by one segment of the population, and the rest has got a blood libel on it and is always guilty. Even liberal historians like Gordon Wood have said enough is enough. We can't just pretend that stuff is true to feed the self-esteem of a small segment of people now. We've got a complex history. It's a beautiful history, and it's marred with sin and flaws too. But here we are, speaking English on a built-up continent, and we're going to have to figure out how to live with each other, and we're going to have to come to grips with our tradition in an honest way, not just in a way that's self-serving for some and creates permanent guilt for others. Family and children. I'll probably delve into this again later, but we have collapsing birth rates, we have broken families, we have children who now aren't going to get to go back to school and see their friends and play sports and act in plays and learn to sing and gather in clubs and just do stuff that kids are supposed to get to do. We've got to come up with a world where families are honored, people trying to raise kids have the resources they need, and children have a chance. Not in a world that's entirely centered on them, but a world that supports them and lets them grow up and become decent, functioning adult people. All those things are under attack. And so I want to push back. So, you know, that's not an easy thing to do. I'm going to try not to be personal, but I'm going to be as pointed as I need to be. And I'm going to organize my thoughts along reactionary hippie lines, and I'll probably pick topics every once in a while and do a deep dive. So that's why I've started this program called Reactionary Hippie. That's why I am a reactionary hippie. So this is Jon-Mark Patterson, the Reactionary Hippie. A bientôt, till we see each other again. Bye.